Welcome back to the last Remnant video walkthrough, 100% completion and low BR run. We're continuing our base assault. We've gotten the first 3 bases done in the last video. We're going to do 2 more in this video. We're still talking to Gore between every one of them. Well, with all the confusion lately, it's been increasingly difficult to have recently received reports of the Third Committee cells assembling in Nagapur, Legion, and even this very castle. Adding to that is a report from the Academy saying some top secret Remnant-related research documents have been stolen and possibly leaked to the black market. If that information were to end up in the wrong hands, like those of the Third Committee, who knows what trouble we'd be in for. So I think when I originally recorded it, I didn't think I'd be reading that. I think I'd just be jumping through it, and I didn't give myself enough time to read it. Yeah. Oh, I think he said, let's go fight some monsters, and what that means is he just upgraded his weapon, like he just Gal just got the one from the boss before last. Okay, so in the same form as the last video, last 3 bases, we're going to do a battlefield, and then a cutscene, and then one of the 7. I didn't mention it because I ran out of time at the end of the last one, but the last guy, the guy in base 3, is the little guy, and I think he's the guy who he wanted us to get like the Necronomicon, Book of the Dead, to bring back from the dead his platoon that he lost in the war, where he was feeling bad about that, and we brought back a picture of the whatever brigade, and he said, no, I don't want to see it. David gets his gay bulg, so this is going to make this fight a little faster. We showed him a picture of the lost brigade, and he said, no, I don't want to see it, and then he ran off crazy. And so I think he became one of the 7 after he went nuts. And I think all of the 7 are a little crazy. That may be the only adjective they have in common, is that they're all crazy. This is not the only time we're going to be fighting a 7. In fact, these guys are pretty weak compared to the Enlightened 7. Later on, there's a guild task to kill all 7 of these guys at the same time, essentially in the same battle. We don't do them all precisely at the same time, but they stack up, and you do them concurrently, at the very least. I think we got another gay bulg there. There's not much to comment on these battlefield fights because they're starting to look exact same. Not seeing anything at this point that is out of the ordinary. But quick note on the 7. When you defeat the Enlightened 7 later on for the guild task, it requires you to be pretty much in game in order to defeat it. You have to have maxed out almost everything, at least 90% maxed out everything in weapon upgrades, and pretty much be able to kill anything in the game if you're able to kill the Enlightened 7. But then they give you the Enlightened 7 to be recruited. So you could, especially Xbox user, I think it was designed for the Xbox, where you are limited to like 7 leaders. So that would make the Enlightened 7 the best 7 you can have, but you can't get them until you've already killed everything in the entire game pretty much, or you're at least able to. At the point you would get the Enlightened 7, you could kill anything anyway. You wouldn't need the Enlightened 7, but just for if you wanted the most badass group possible, you would go for the Enlightened 7. On the Xbox at least. On the PC, they're still really, really good. Even though we can have more leaders. I do not replace my guys with Enlightened 7, just because after so much time invested with mine, I didn't want to relearn the wheel. And we wanted to do this in the quickest way possible. But we do defeat the Enlightened 7. I don't remember which video it is, but it's probably 85 or 84 or something like that. There's 87 videos, and the boss came out. I think this might be one of those cases where if you kill the boss, everything dies. But I don't think we care so much about XP right now. It'd be fine to kill the boss and get this over with soon. A lot of guys out on the field here. Oh, David's going to clear everything anyway. That's probably why they stacked up. That's probably why I stacked up on the boss, knowing that David was going to kill everything else. why kill a group that David's just going to kill anyway? Yeah, that's actually a good tactic, actually. You know, if David's got his Gabolg or somebody's got their Arcana, just put everybody else on the boss, if there is one. No use killing mobs that's going to die anyway. So, some more skill ups. Zulian's moving right along through his hexes. He's already got Kachixia, which we're not using yet.
What the hell took you so long? Ugh! I'm gonna bust you up extra just for making me wait!
Hannah, don't get too cocky.
Hannah, just stand back. I won't even need your help with these punks.
Don't be silly. Do you think I'd allow them the chance to hurt you?
Okay, for you, I can share. The Grief Bringers bringing lots of pain your way!
As am I, the Merciless!
Okay, so we remember these two jokers. One of them was in love with us, the other one wanted to kill us. Now they both want to kill us. And we got the two bosses and 4 trash this time. This is how they fit the 7 and 6 bases, because these two are always together. Excuse me. They do move when they're both alive. Like, here's one here. I don't know if that's called Snow Pedal or whatever, but it's learnable. I'm kind of skipping ahead. Hold on a second. She has a weapon that we're going to get from this fight called Night Bloom. And off the top of my head, it's the best weapon in the game. And it's one-handed. So almost anybody can use it. Strike that. Anybody can use it. It's one-handed. I guess maybe the little guys can't use human-sized swords or but any of your main characters will be able to use it. And I'm lying. That's not true. Apparently, only 2 people can use it. On the Xbox, only 1 person can use it, but on the PC, 2 people can use it. Let's see. Irina and Emmy. And so we have to make a choice. Do we give it to Irina or do we give it to Emmy? Because it's such a huge... Well, first of all, as soon as they put it on, they've got the best weapon in the game. It doesn't need to upgrade anymore. It's an automatic upgrade to the very end of their weapon tree, and so it's somebody we don't have to upgrade at all. We want it to be on Emmy. That's the bottom line. She is one of our group leaders, and you want a group leader to have the Night Bloom. What the Night Bloom allows you to do, it's got its own unique Remnant weapon art specific to the Night Bloom. So it has an ability that nobody else will be able to get because they don't get the Night Bloom. But here's on the PC version at least how they screw with you. They will try and give it to Irina at every opportunity. In fact, you almost have to have Irina out of your party before Emmy will ask for it. And so it's kind of tough. The game won't organically give it to Emmy, so we have to find a way to give it to her. Let's see. So now we just got the 2 bosses, right? Yeah. Order on the 2 bosses. One of them heals, but I say it doesn't care. It doesn't matter. Like, you pile up on one, and you'll succeed. Only really in the Enlightened version of these 2 is it important to go by order. But if you have to choose one, then the healer, I believe Hannah. That's who we're taking down first. Or no, we're splitting. Maybe because I think I'm so badass now that I don't have to follow any strategy on these particular mobs. It's nice to actually kill these two, though, because that one girl was so rotten to us, and we didn't do anything but help her, and she started swearing at us, and it was a little scary. But we finally get to smooth everything over by killing her for the first time. And she's already blinking, so we'll have Hannah dead first. Our high morales have given us a lot of special abilities. Rush is getting his Omni Strike, which if he ever gets to it... Oh, they're going to do their two-person... And obviously they don't do that if one of them's dead, so if you concentrate on one... Oh, and a big thank you to Hannah for not having a long death speech. She just said later, and that's fine. Oh, same with the other one. Okay, ding, 36, grats.
This is of no concern to you.
Nice, Cademan. Got Eclipse, which is a top-tier weapon, weapon, shit. Yeah, we need to stop Arena from getting the Night Bloom, so we'll go over here and turn it off for her. She can boo-hoo all she wants. But if you ever let her have it, Emmy can't get it, so we've got to turn it off for her.
Oh well.
Oh well. And she's going to keep asking for it. We'll have to keep telling her no. Pages, you're welcome to it. He got that Heartache, so that's going to give him another terraforming ability. Oh, right. That ability that Caveman got was a top-tier combat art ability. So he is nearing completion there. And he just got Traps, which we're going to have to turn off. All this stuff is great when they get it, but we got to turn it off. Which is... I eventually just stopped recording that. In between battles when people get new abilities. I've just been turning them off because you don't need to sit through that. That's boring. What is it? Okay, so this is apparently one of those bases that we didn't have to talk to him after, but better safe than sorry. Pages, you couldn't have mentioned that with everybody else? You guys just asked for stuff. Beggars. I hate beggars. We're ready to move on to the 5th base. And you guessed it. We got a battlefield. And we're going to follow our same... Oh, well, there's the Megalord. That's what he got for Heartache. This is... Wow, he got it right away. That's kind of cool. He just picked up this item. It's like a bracelet or something. And it will allow him to terraform the battlefield. Now he's got 2 ways to do it, so he should be getting more options in combat to clear everybody off. And that, along with David, should be great for us. But our guys are killing all the mobs. He's only going to kill 3 groups. Damn. Okay, so he opened up a wormhole, and everybody imploded. We got 4 new trash. I wonder how long they're going to last. Like, it might not even be worth it to have anybody use their big ability when we could just kill 4 groups in one turn. But, of course, they're on the other side of the battlefield from us, so we got to run. Nice. Paris is going to ensure we're at max morale. And reinforced again. Sometimes you can be reinforced without having killed a mob, like especially bosses that stack, like multiple bosses stack on top. Sometimes there are some fights where it's already laid out. The format of the fight is laid out. Like 3 groups will join in the first round. Then in the second round, no matter what happens, whether you kill them or not, another 2 will show up. Then another 1. Then another 3. Or something like that. Like, some fights are scripted, so you aren't always able to control the tempo of the fight. But as long as you clear everybody in one hit, like David's doing, David and Pages, we totally control the tempo of this fight. I just wish that animation would get faster. Reinforced again. Hey, a dragon. And some other guys on the other side. This kind of looks like Serious Sam Corridor here. If you ever played Serious Sam, the second encounter, this might, I don't know if it's a tribute to him or not, but it looks almost exactly like it. If they're only little cannons shooting you and blowing you up across the map. But this isn't Serious Sam. This is Serious Last Remnant. And we've got a boss on the field, but it's not the dragon. It's an escort squad. And they put more guys on the field. We can't ever empty this cup. It keeps filling back up. Maybe they did intend to make the battlefield fights harder, assuming everybody went through the bases 1 through 6. Because there does seem to be a trend now that I'm looking at the videos after the fact of the battlefields being longer. Not necessarily harder, same crap cheesy bosses at the end, but definitely longer. Because he's still terraforming, and they're still showing up, reinforced multiple times. Omni Strike is up. And sometimes it's good to cycle not just the guys who have the terraforming abilities, but the other groups as well, because like I said, Jaeger has his own special ability, and so cycling through groups will have it's always worth it to look and see at all your options on all enemy unions. It's kind of an advantage of a battlefield versus a single boss. Like single boss, you have no choices. You have whatever they give you on the boss. You can't cycle through other mobs, other unions. Oh, nice. He has an AE, but it only hit one guy. And Rush kills the boss. Does that clear the fight? Yeah, that stops the fight. Okay, so we didn't get to kill some guys. They automatically died when Rush killed the boss.
This is of no concern to you.
I feel stronger than before!
Nice. Nice!
My old age hasn't stopped me from growing.
Page just upgraded his invocation. We'll see after the cutscene.
Finally. Feels like I aged 50 years waiting for you. At least he didn't get pounded by the other guys, cause young the belligerent's the only one that's worthy enough to beat the living crap out of you. So get ready to enjoy some good old-fashioned loving from Mr. Young. I've been looking forward to this moment for ages. Hope you can put up a good fight, because I want to savor this as long as I can.
Okay, we remember this guy from some quests where he had us go out in the Great Sand Sea and kill a beetle, and then threatened to kill us when we came back. He said we were too slow, and he was a dick, so we're killing him. It's the same setup. It's a boss and 5 trash. This will be real satisfying to kill this guy, because he was so mean to us. Like many of the 7, he was just rotten. He deserves anything we send at him. One thing you may have noticed is that he had a special weapon. He had like a two-handed, well, it's one-handed, but power grips it. Or maybe it is two-handed. He holds it with 2 hands, bottom line, and it is a frost blade. Although his big attack is that multi-punch there, and that only does about 1 or 2k to us right now, which is really just doesn't even knock the sweat off of us. Okay, so in the first round we only managed to kill 3 groups, so this is actually, these fights are kind of challenging. Like, they'll get our hit points down, They have killed some of our Unions, albeit with insta-kill abilities, but they're still able to kill us, so it's not super easy. It's just not as insanely difficult as it would be if we didn't level up properly. Let's see. The screen tends to blink a lot, so it makes it look like Young is blinking, but he's not blinking. Oh, anyway, back to that sword, the Frostblade there. That has got Roberto's name all over it, and we liked Roberto in the beginning because we sat through 3 quests to finally get him, and we sat through his parameter bonus where he talked about how close to death he is, and he's old and nothing to live for, and so we're going to enjoy him all the more when he has this beastly weapon. This weapon has its own Remnant weapon art, and it also has a weapon art associated with it also. Not a Remnant weapon art, but like a weapon art. There's a difference between the two. One of them you have to be a group leader in order for the ability to come up. The other one you don't have to be a group leader, you just have to have a certain level of skill and the fighting style that the weapon requires. So that one is, it's either two-handed or power grip. I can't remember which one right off the top of my head. But he'll drop it at the end of this fight, and it will instantly move Roberto's weapon tier to the end. Like, he'll be done. We won't have to look for special items to upgrade his weapon later on. We'll be able to just work on the guys that didn't get weapon ups. Okay, there's something from David there called Ex Machina. We've seen it a few times, but I've never commented on it. It looks like a Gaybolg type thing, but it's not. It's only single target. It does okay damage. It's not the terraforming ability of the other one, but it is. It's worth it to use it when it comes up, and he gets it from the beginning.
It ain't over yet. I still got plenty of ass kicking left in me. Damn it! Where did all my strength go? You weren't supposed to be that strong.
Well, we were that strong. Yeah, so Ding 37, and that dude's finally dead. We won't have to fight him for another few videos. David got Requiem, combat art, last year, combat art.
I feel like I've grown.
And that completes the second base, and Roberto's going to get his Frostblade finally. Those Hearts of Loyalty, I'll talk about them later, that we've gotten from each of these of the 7. Our guys are going to want to upgrade their abilities and ask where to train. Maddox is obviously Mystic. I was going to say something. Oh, right. You have seen 6 of the 7. Irina's going to ask again. No, bitch, we just said no. How many times do we have to say no? Boo. Okay, so we're going to have to find a way to get her out of the party so that we can get Emmy to ask for it. Right, so if you are hyper-vigilant, paying attention, you'd know who the 7th one is, and you'll know the guy we're going to fight at the last base. I won't ruin it. I won't spoil what's going to happen in but a few moments in the next video. Right now, I'm going to do what I've done after every few fights, is turn off all these things that are showing up. But here you see Mighty is in front of all his abilities. Nimble is in front of all his combat abilities. You'll see Swift, Nimble and Swift and Mighty. What they are is your combat arts after they'll level up in 2 different ways. Like, one of them they'll level up from 1 to 5, so that Roman numeral after them you can see what level they are. And then there's a flavor of them, of Nimble or Swift, which it also increases their speed if it's Nimble Swift, or their damage if it's Mighty. Can't remember the other one. Mighty becomes something else after Mighty. I don't think any of our guys have that last tier after Mighty. Maybe Rush does. And that depends on what weapon you're using. Like, if you're using one-handed swords, you'll have a certain type. If you're using axes, you'll have another type. So you might want to look at the wiki and see. Yeah, we want to make sure Evocations is off there. for Cademan, he doesn't need to be casting.
Want something?
But that'll set everybody up.
Oh, hello.
And we'll be ready to take on the last base after we talk to the Duke in the next video.